I'm joined by the management of NTT Data today. We have Bob Pryor, he's the CEO, and we're joined by Amir Durrani, he's the Executive Vice President of Digital Operations for NTT Data. Viewers, NTT Data is a $30 billion Japanese IT infrastructure and services firm. About $11 billion or so comes from Japan, while the rest, 19 billion, comes from the rest of the world. Why they're talking to Indian media today in particular is because India is home to the second largest employee base outside of Japan. Apart from that, we'll also speak about the data center business and also their investments in India. Welcome, gentlemen. You're both joining us from Chennai. I hope all's fine there.
All's fine. Little wet, but all is fine. Just lovely part of the world to be, even with all the rain and water.
That's good to know. Bob, I'd like to come to you first with my question. As I said, India is a major employee hub, but where does India stand in terms of being a services market for NTT Data?
It's a great question because it's really both. So it serves a lot of our clients around the world and especially in the Americas, which is my priority focus. But India is a domestic market. We hope to cross the $1 billion mark of revenue here in India just in the next probably couple of years. And fastest growing area of growth for us around the world and certainly here in India is with our expansion of data center. So as a global company, we'll spend probably close to $3 billion a year for the next year, X number of years investing in next generation data centers. Right now, the largest footprint of expansion is US, second largest is here in India. So India continues to capture a lot of that capital investment, north of $500 million a year for the next few years. Plan is probably $2 billion-ish, kind of over that foreseeable 3 or 4 year period. And that continues to even not meet all the demand we're seeing from our clients to be able to build data centers here. So from that standpoint, advanced data centers, being able to support edge computing, having kind of the capability to support all the AI initiatives out there here in India, that's a big part of what's driving both the investment, the attractiveness, and that size of that growth footprint.
Interesting. Amir and Bob, this one's for both of you. Like you mentioned, Bob, the data center business is seeing an uptick. What's causing that really? What are the main factors that are causing this?
So a lot of that growth is certainly driven by what are called the hyperscalers. So when you think of the likes of certainly Microsoft, AWS, Google, Oracle, SAP, those core hyperscalers are driving massive growth of not only current services, but next generation of services. All are investing very, very heavily into the next iteration of generative AI, which consumes a lot of compute requirements. So serving these markets, driving more of their growth here, investing more, serving more of the domestic clients and across the different industries. That's what's fueling a lot of it. And then the ecosystem for us is not only serving them, but working in partnership with them to serve mutual clients across, the industries that are important to us. So again, getting those partnerships right, having those right combinations of technical domain skill, infrastructure, industry depth becomes one of the keys to really being able to satisfy both the demand and serving kind of that marketplace. And that's true here in this part of the world as well as a global company around the world.
Right. Amir, what sort of impact is the government's push, I think, across the world, not just India, the push for data sovereignty and data localization? What sort of impact is NTT Data seeing because of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rishabh. So, data is an intrinsic part of everything that we do, and for us, the security of data for our clients is extremely critical. I think what we have seen is the concept of data security, right, has been evolving over time. I think the biggest shift we saw was when we talked about moving data to the cloud, right? And there was a lot of reservation from various industries on the security of data as we move it to the cloud. As we have seen over time that that reservation has basically changed quite a bit. There are still some industries, especially on the financial side, banking side, where there is quite a bit of hesitation on moving data to the cloud. But I think what we are seeing here is that more and more, I think people are becoming a lot more comfortable with the technology that is out there that provides the required security for their data. Connected to that also is this new revolution of the generative AI.
Yep.
Right, because a lot of that is bringing in new questions around security, around especially around cybersecurity. So we are working very closely with our headquarters in Tokyo on coming up with the required security framework to provide the required assurances to our clients as we take them through this generative AI journey. Because a lot of our clients are coming to us and saying, what is your point of view on generative AI? And yes, it drives 30% productivity, 50%, 60%, but at what cost? Right? What are some of the risks that people have to be aware of? And that's where we are working with our parent company and providing those consulting services to our clients. Because when you're talking about those type of productivity, you're talking about those type of gains, you also have to talk about the risks that are associated with it. And those risks are more than just the data risks, right? It's also the code that is associated with it. So yes, we are ahead of that game. We believe that we have a very good handle on our strategy moving forward from the generative AI perspective as well, which also touches the data security as well as the cyber security issues that you see today.
Right. Interesting points there. This one is also for the both of you. India's own IT services and IT industry has been spoken about a lot. I think it's one of the first industries that really prospered when India globalized. What do you make of any sort of competition that comes in from India's own IT bellwethers?
It's funny because in the mid to late 90s, many firms like ours, we had partnerships with some of what are today the tier 1 Indian firms, and that probably was really addressing the Y2K marketplace and the needs for remediating so much code to help our clients avoid kind of unknown events, distractions, disruptions from what happens when you cross over to the new millennium. Mm-hmm. And I would say as the Indian firms got stronger and stronger, they became more competitive, competing with us and companies like us. So we're 20 plus years of competing. There's times where we team, we prime, we sub, and that's the relationship we are in. And it's not unique to India. We have that same kind of relationship with an IBM, maybe with an Accenture, some of the big four firms. So the reality is you always live in that world of, all right, am I teaming? Am I competing? Am I potentially going to sub work? Am I going to be a sub to one of the competitors? And I think all of us are bounded by the need to serve our clients in our markets. And so many times our clients may be the one to say, hey, I want you to work with this firm. I know you compete, but I don't care. I want you to work together because I think the combination becomes really, really important and powerful for me. And so in many ways, that is also driven by kind of what our clients want. And clients expect us to work great with them and whichever partners they've chosen. And so it's more common to find kind of a large client that we serve where, several of our great firms are all kind of there. And we're not trying to compete with each other in that sense. We're trying to serve our clients and be good partners for them. And it forces you to have really good collaboration skills and teaming skills. And that has been the reality of the world we've lived in for, 20 years plus. So I don't see it as new or different. And I certainly don't see it unique to the Indian firms, because that's true around the world.
Right. Amir, what's your word on that?
No, I think I agree with Bob. I mean, the current market is such that if we are not able to collaborate to get to the value that the clients are looking for, I think we all will fail. So I think the end goal is to get to the business proposition that the clients are looking for, and right now in the industry, there's a lot of collaboration going on. There is a collaboration in various scenarios. Like Bob said, sometimes we are the prime, and our competitors might be the sub, and vice versa. But the end goal is to get to the value that the clients are looking for. But at the end of the day, right? Healthy competition is always good. Right. And that keeps us on our toes, that keeps us ahead of the game, and it's always welcome. So,
and the other thing I would add is there's not a binary outcome. So I may win a project today, lose it tomorrow. I may lose to a key competitor today, and then that just fortifies me to go beat them on either in the next opportunity at the same client or different. So that competition brings out the best in us, and oftentimes losing has a much more profound impact on winning bigger things than actually just winning. And so I'd say we're in a very highly competitive marketplace, but that's one of the things that clients really, really value, is being able to have choices and great alternative firms. And it's less about, can we solve a technology problem for them? A lot of it is culture values. Are we the right company? Are we aligned with their goals, objectives? Are we better for a project or a need they have versus another firm? It's rarely just a technological capability. It's much more around kind of the ability to depth expertise in a certain area. Certainly you got to be competitive from a pricing, but ultimately the client's got to decide which is the best firm to help them achieve their objective. And that may vary depending on the circumstances, location, or the thing they've asked you to work on. So and again, I don't want a client to fail. So even if they pick a competitor, I don't want them to fail, because that's bad for the industry. Better for the industry is when we're all winning and driving great successes for our clients. That's the better outcome.
That's a very fair assessment there, Bob. Lastly, you spoke about the 3 billion that you look to invest in India. Could you break that down for me in terms of how much goes to what business?
So I'd say the lion's share of that is going to that next iteration of data centers. So as you think about the data centers and serving that edge computing need, vast majority of that capital is being invested there. So we have a couple different types of business. So we have what I'd say is a very capital intensive set, which is around infrastructure, data centers, networks. And then we have more of the labor intensive, which is the consulting, system integration, managed services. And that's what we bring together. So the bigger tranches of capital are on those capital intensive components. But then a lot of our growth is enabled by the more labor intensive part of that equation.
Super interesting there. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your insights. Viewers, that was Bob Pryor and Amir Durrani of NTT Data. Stay tuned.